The CAJ Marketwired Award for Data Journalism welcomes entries from any media in any format where data journalism techniques played a key role in developing the story.
Steve Rennie of the Canadian Press for Meet the Fire Hydrant that makes Toronto the most money from parking tickets. Lots of people have been ticketed for parking by a fire hydrant. But do all hydrants in Toronto take in the same amount of money? On a slow summer day, Rennie used parking enforcement data downloaded from the city's open data website to craft a fun story with some surprising answers. One hard-to-see yellow hydrant, it turned out, had taken in almost $300,000 since 2008.
A Canadian Press analysis of parking ticket data turned up the biggest cash cow hydrants in Ottawa and Toronto.
I went looking for the fire hydrant that generates the most money in parking tickets for the city of Ottawa, and my search brought me here to Beach Street, right in the heart of Ottawa's Little Italy neighborhood. Between 2008 and this year, this one fire hydrant has generated $65,000 for the city of Ottawa. That's not bad for one fire hydrant.
In Toronto, hydrants can be even more lucrative. This one on the city's busy University Avenue has brought in almost $290,000 from nearly 3,000 tickets since 2008. Despite some red paint on the curb, some say the hydrant's distance from the curb makes it hard to spot.
Patrick Kane of globalnews.ca for Here's the Sex Offender Map Ontario Didn't Want You to See. Using a database with the first 3 characters of postal codes of people on Ontario's sex offender registry, Kane mapped where the province's sex offenders were most concentrated, discovering many were clustered in some of Ontario's poorest neighborhoods. But a big part of this story was the precedent-setting legal fight simply to get the database.
Ontario's Ministry of Correctional Services fought a 6-year battle to keep it secret, starting with the refusal of an access to information request.
Information and Privacy Commissioner Ann Cavoukian ruled that it should be released, but the government continued to fight it, losing first at Divisional Court, then the Court of Appeal, and finally the Supreme Court of Canada, which ruled unanimously that it should come out.
It's information that the public has a right to know. Transparency is absolutely essential in the world that we live in. So the need to take it to the Supreme Court of Canada, it boggles the mind.
Teri Pecoskie of the Hamilton Spectator for Keeping Score. Powered by crisp writing and months of data analysis, research, and reporting, this 5-part multimedia series showed clear connections between standardized test scores in Hamilton schools and a range of social and economic factors, including health and wealth. The series uncovered huge disparities in academic achievement, despite significant investments that were supposed to have leveled the playing field for all kids. Robert Cribb and Matthew Cole of the Toronto Star for Tainted Water. Careful analysis of never-before-made public city water testing data, obtained after a long Freedom of Information battle, found unsafe levels of harmful lead in 13% of households across Toronto, especially older homes. The story triggered public outrage and calls for reform. Requests to have home water tested exploded. In response, the city is now developing a number of measures already found in many other Canadian cities, including loans to help replace lead pipes. The University of King's College School of Journalism investigative team and the Chronicle Herald for Burned. Using a never-before-released multi-table database with 6 years of fire calls from the city of Halifax, the King's team produced a multimedia look at the challenges of providing fire protection outside the urban core of the large regional municipality. On average, fire call response times were much slower in rural areas, which rely on a shrinking number of volunteer firefighters. Burned was published in the Halifax Chronicle Herald and on a website designed and built by the students.